What's good, YouTube? It's NBA and NBA 2K22 breaking news and reaction. We got a pretty big trade. I know 2 days ago I picked it up higher than it should have, but it involves Christian Wood going to the Dallas Mavericks to play with Luka Doncic, Spencer Dinwiddie, Jalen Brunson, Maxi Kleber, and all those guys. The last trade that happened 2 days ago was not that big of a deal. It was just the Thunder trading the 30th overall pick to Denver in exchange for JaMychal Green and a future protected second or first round pick in 5 years. So it was just a role player for a future role player probably in the NBA. And so this trade is actually pretty big. It's Christian Wood going to the Mavericks. Rockets get number 26 pick and more. So Bleacher Report says the Rockets are reported you guys to leave a like and subscribe to my channel. Once I get to 50 subscribers, I think I may have found a streaming app that allows you to bypass the rule on YouTube that you must have 1,000 subscribers to stream on mobile. And I would really, really love to do a draft live stream with you guys next Thursday. So help me get to that goal. And also leave a like so I know you're enjoying the video. And turn on notifications so you never miss a future video. So Sean's tweeted out about 1 hour ago, Dallas is acquiring Christian Wood from Houston and sending the number 26 pick to the Rockets along with multiple players, sources said. Woj said the Rockets are trading Christian Wood to Dallas for the number 26 pick, Boban Marjanovic, Trey Burke, and Marquise Chris. Sources tell ESPN. 26-year-old was in the middle of his second season, though it wasn't devoid of drama. Rockets coach Steven Silas benched Wood for missing his COVID-19 testing window ahead of the January 1st game against the Denver Nuggets. The player then refused to enter the game and after Kevin had an argument with the staff and left the arena. He was suspended 1 game. In 68 games for the Rockets last season, he averaged 18 points and 10 rebounds. Wood has flashed skills since joining the Rockets. A locker room squabble was far from his first issue. There were some concerns about Wood and the pre-draft process. After his win in overseas, breaking out in 2019-20 with the Pistons, and then inking a 3-year deal in Houston. Lots of those guys who were drafted ahead of me aren't even in the league anymore. I've been cut. I've been told I wasn't good enough, but I'm still here. Christian Wood told John Leachman. The Mavericks will hope to get another change of scenery. The Mavericks hope another change in California. Native, who has 1 year and $60 million remaining on his contract, is back on track. To what the trade means for both teams. We already kind of went through the Bleacher Report article. This is the end of it. But I have one more that I want to go through, and that is hoopsrumors.com. So let's get over there. So this is my favorite website for basketball. I will leave the link to the website and the link to the article down in the description below. They just put a bunch of news, like all the latest basketball news. They have a great team of writers, and they put it on their website every day when it happens. So their lead writer is Luke Adams, but this is by Rory Maher. The Rockets are trading Christian Wood to the Mavericks in exchange for the number 26 overall pick of the 2022 draft. Boban Marjanovic, Sterling Brown, Trey Burke, and Marquise Chris, sources tell Shams Charania of The Athletic. So what I'm kind of confused about is no one on the Bleacher Report article or anything said anything about Sterling Brown being traded. I'm not sure if he's going to be included in this trade, but as of right now, Woj and Shams both didn't say anything about it. If he does end up being included, this will be his second stop in Houston, as he was there last season and didn't really play that well, but he was there. I'm going to close you. Okay. But yeah, he was there last season in 2020-21. He started 14 games, played 51, and averaged 8 points while he was there, but he was getting a lot of minutes because they were a rebuilding team. This year on Dallas, he averaged 3 points and 3 rebounds per game. Boban Marjanovic this season, but he is Luka Doncic's best friend, and we will get more into that later in the video. But he only played about 6 minutes per game for Dallas this year and averaged 4 points and 2 rebounds per game, mostly in garbage time. Marquise Chris Marquise Chris was out of the league for most of the year last year. He only played 2 games in Golden State before suffering a major injury. Dallas picked him up this year during the big COVID outbreak in the NBA, signed him to a 10-day contract, then rewarded him with a 2-year deal. He only played 24 games with them, but averaged 4 points per game and 3 rebounds. Trey Burke is included in the deal. He averaged about 10 minutes per game last year, mostly coming in big situations at the end of games because he is an elite catch-and-shoot sharpshooter. He averaged 5 points and it was 1 assist. 5 points and 1 assist per game in 42 games. All 5 players on expiring contracts, with the 4 Mavs players being sent out as part of salary matching purposes. Wood will earn $14 million next season. As ESPN's Bobby Marks tweets, the trade can't be officially completed until draft night, which is June 23rd, because the Mavericks owe a protected first-round pick to the Knicks in 2023. Wood will be eligible for a 4-year, $77 million extension after the trade is completed, or 6 months after the trade is completed, which will be about December-ish? No, November, says Marks. Burke holds a $3 million player option for next season and will need to accept the player option in order for the trade to work, Marks reports, adding that the roster is expanding to 20 in the offseason will allow the Rockets to take back 4 players in exchange for 1. Burke will receive a trade bonus of $247,000 from Dallas as part of the deal, Marks relays in another tweet. Jake Fisher of Bleacher Report indicated on Tuesday that the Mavericks were looking to trade their only draft pick, and they found a match in the rebuilding Rockets, who now control 3 first-round picks, 3, 17, and 26. The Rockets have multiple options to explore ahead of the draft. If they want to package 17 and 26 to move up, they likely could. The 26-year-old Wood is a very solid return for Dallas, even if he comes with some character concerns. The talented big man averaged 19, 10, 2, and 1 in 109 games for Houston the past 2 seasons, posting a combined shooting line of 50, 38, 62. The move definitely comes with risks for Mavericks because Wood is a poor defensive player and can be quite inconsistent, especially from an effort standpoint from game to game. However, he's on an expiring contract, which limits the risk and is theoretically in a good situation with Luka Doncic. Mavericks GM Nico Harrison said the team would be looking to acquire a quality big man who could provide rebounding and rim protection after the team lost in the Western Conference Finals. Wood fulfills the first criteria. He's a good rebounder, but falls a bit short on the second, as he isn't much of a deterrent at the basket. According to Tim McMahon of ESPN, the Rockets wanted to move Wood in order to create more playing time for Alperen Sengun, who was a rookie last season as the 16th overall pick, and the number 3 pick, who will probably be Paolo Banchero, is what I'm thinking. Maybe Jabari Smith falls to them, but I think Chet is a lock for one of the top 2 picks. They'll get a look at some veterans on expiring deals, but obviously the main appeal is the number 26 pick and no long-term salaries. Chris, who will make $2 million next season, underwent knee surgery on Wednesday and will be sidelined while rehabbing for the next couple months, sources tell Chris Haynes of Yahoo Sports. So now we're just going to read some of the comments on the trade until we get to mine, where I pretty much break down the trade. So Wow said, not Boban, no. J817 said, may have the opportunity to sign back with the Rockets if they release him. And then King Kong said not allowed. Rockets would have to trade Boban to somebody else who cuts him. And then J817 said correct, thanks. But I'm not sure if he can sign back with the Mavericks if one, he clears waivers, or two, they buy him out. This MLB guy said violates league rules, can't trade first-round picks. The Stepien rule prevents teams from being without first-round picks in consecutive years. Then Alphatron 10 said doesn't matter since it's the draft. They can finish this trade next Thursday because of that. Ray Reed said love it for the Mavs. And Trog said mixed feelings about this trade. It's essentially spare parts in the 26th pick for Wood. Love Boban, but he was buried as the team's 15th man on the roster. Mavs could regret this if a player surprisingly drops to Houston in the draft like E.J. Liddell or Nikola Jovic. My guess is the Mavs want to utilize both Kleber and Wood in the five-man out offense, as both bigs can knock down the three. Then they probably will look to sign a matchup center with their mid-level exception against traditional teams that may not play every night, a la Bismack Biyombo, JaVale McGee, or Hassan Whiteside. So about the three centers that he mentioned, I think JaVale McGee is still a starting caliber player. I don't think he's going to settle to sign in Dallas where he'll come off the bench, one, and two, might not even play every game. I think Phoenix will try to sign him for like 1 year, $10 million, especially if DeAndre Ayton may leave. Bismack Biyombo is also very serviceable. He didn't play very much for Phoenix this year, but when he came in, he was a good rebounder and provided great post defense, which is what the Suns really needed. And then same thing with Hassan Whiteside. He just played a lot more often than Bismack Biyombo did. He said, we'll be curious to see if the Mavs can find any value for Dwight Powell's expiring $11 million and if they decide to hang on to Tim Hardaway Jr. for firepower off the bench. 5'8" center said Wood's value is way lower than I thought, but nice trade for the Mavs. Time to unleash the Shingun in Houston. Wood is a terrible defender, but Indiana is an upgrade over Dwight Powell. He was unbelievably bad during the playoffs. Trug, who's obviously a Mavericks fan, he has the Mavericks logo as his profile picture. He said, do you think there's any room for improvement in Wood's game on the defensive end? When Carlisle was coaching in Dallas, there were consistently great defenders when the Mavs acquired, example, Wesley Matthews, who took steps backward under his staff. With Kidd, it has been a complete culture change and an emphasis on defense first. Seems every guy's trended forward on that end. Finney-Smith became elite. Bullock was wonderful on smalls during the playoffs like Chris Paul. Luka is taking steps in the right direction. So I wonder if Kidd and Sweeney can pull anything more out of Wood defensively. Not holding my breath, just curious from only being able to see him play a handful of times. Christopher said, could have just done this. Mavs get Christian Wood. Rockets get Dwight Powell, Josh Green, Marquise Chris, and the 26th pick. Giving up Boban, Brown, and Burke is not a smart move, especially when they were such a big part of the team culture. Being such a big part of the team culture, I think he just meant Boban Marjanovic. King Kong said, I'm guessing Rockets wanted to hand Şengün their keys and didn't want Powell. Trog said, all three of these guys were out of the rotation, though. Brown was dreadful. He essentially was a repeat version of Wesley Iwundu for the Mavs. Neither signing panned out. I think Sterling Brown is kind of overpaid as well, if I'm not mistaken. He's set to make about either $2.5 or $5 million next year. I think he either signed a 2-year $5 million deal last offseason or a 2-year $10 million. Burke is a volume scorer but buried on the bench and wouldn't classify him as a clubhouse glue guy either. Boban's a great guy and will have a job in most any organization he's ever played for once he hangs it up. A truly great human being. I'll miss him the most. My assumption is that 1, the Mavs prefer to hang on to Josh Green, who still has untapped upside as a two-way player, and 2, the Rockets didn't see any value in Dwight Powell, as they tend to go small and would rather give backup center time to Usman Garuba and company. Whiplash said Mavs fans get ready for a lot of headaches. He's very talented but makes a bunch of boneheaded moves. That's kind of true, because I did go to watch a Rockets versus Pacers game just about a month ago, or just a few months ago, over spring break. And Christian Wood wasn't playing exactly amazing. He was making a few mistakes that were not the greatest mistakes in the world. They were certainly a few plays that he could have made better. This guy says massively inflated stats since he's been on a tanking team the past few years. However, neither team got anything of much value except Dallas dumping multiple players. Fair trade, but doesn't help either team much. J817 said Powell averaged 5 rebounds a game last year. Wood averaged 10. Helps them tremendously. Wood doesn't need to be a 20-point-per-game guy in Dallas. He just needs to be more than the hole they had at the 5. Whiplash said he'll also space the floor since he can knock down the 3. Luka will have more alleys to drive. Powell is just a rim runner. And then Castle Greener said, a great move for both sides. Dallas gets more talent and Wood can show his value as a 3-4 option. Houston gets a decent pick. CBA 93 said with Luka, he could shoot 60-40 from the 4-5 if they could land a legit rim protector that can play next to him and bring back Brunson, Hardaway, Dinwiddie. They are going to be a top 3 seed. They do need to bring Brunson back. He is a free agent, but Tim Hardaway and Spencer Dinwiddie are both locked up with contracts for the next 2 or 3 seasons. TXT said Sixers should have offered the number 23 pick, Danny Green, Shake Milton, and Isaiah Joe for Christian Wood. I don't know if I would have liked Christian Wood's fit with Joel Embiid and Matisse Thybulle. That would have been a really awkward fit. And then I said Luka will be happy to get a competent big, but Boban was his best friend, it seemed like, so I don't really know how he may feel about that. And if H-Town buys him out, can he sign back once he clears waivers? And then I don't think that's possible since I've read some of the comments up above. This guy said they shouldn't allow trades to happen until after the finals. J817 said why, saying that the trade isn't official, and I said there are only 4 days between a potential Game 7 and the draft. How is that enough time for teams to make trades, which I think is the case. Teams need more time to be able to make trades and see what they need in the draft with pre-draft workouts and everything before they decide to make a move that they can't take back in the NBA draft. And then I said, this is something I didn't expect, my trade grades. Houston, I gave a C-. I said Christian Wood was an asset for them that could have allowed them to get a bigger return from another team. Boban is old and is on a bigger contract. Houston will probably waive or buy out him. Sterling Brown's last tenure with Houston didn't end well, and he is relatively overpaid, so I don't see them keeping him, whether they waive him, trade him, or anything else. Trey Burke is getting a little older, but he could fill the hole left by Dennis Schroeder nicely. Schroeder is a free agent, but I said he's also, or he's always been a really good shooter off the bench who can help any team as just a good scorer. Marquise Chris is still pretty good as a big man who can effectively play defense and get rebounds and could be a keeper in Houston. If I'm not mistaken, he's already played there too. I'm not sure. I know in the 2018-19 season, the Cavaliers made a trade with the Houston Rockets that involved Christian Wood, but I'm just not sure if that was when the Cavaliers got him from the Suns or got him from the Rockets. Because I know that there was a 3-team trade during that season that involved those 3 teams. The 26th pick could get you something, but whatever player you draft there likely won't turn out to be as good as Christian Wood. And then for the Dallas Mavericks, I gave an A. I said Dallas didn't give up any real assets here. The 26th pick will probably wouldn't have played much next season, and Boban is Luka's friend. But other than that, Christian Wood is a great stretch four who can be a great fit in the starting five with Brunson, Dinwiddie at the 1, Luka Bullock at the 2, DFS Josh Green at the 3, Kleber Bertans at 4, and Wood Powell at 5, with Hardaway also left to fit in anywhere he is needed. Top 3 seed in the West for sure if Wood can prove he wasn't just good because he was the best player on a bad team. Alphatron10 said, don't forget about Tim Hardaway. I put him right here, so I don't really know what he's talking about. Trug said, this is the Mavericks fan that has been commenting on a lot of things. He said, I see the depth chart currently as Brunson, Dinwiddie, Ntilikina. Brunson and Ntilikina are both free agents, though. And then shooting guard, Doncic, Hardaway. Small forward, Bullock and Josh Green. Power forward, who's Dodo? He's using nicknames now, and I'm not that big of a Mavericks fan. I think that might be Dorian Finney-Smith, but I'm not sure. And Bertans, and then center is Wood, Kleber, and Powell. If they can upgrade Powell, Kleber, both on expiring deals, they'll do it. Hardaway is a big question mark on how he fits with the team, and Goran Dragic should be a slam dunk for a sign on the veterans minimum now as well. Luka loses a buddy in Boban, but gains one of his idol and countrymen, which he is talking about, Goran Dragic. But I think they will keep Maxi Kleber because he was a great defender in the playoffs against lots of players, and he's also a really good scorer. I think he's probably one of their best backups on the entire team. Peters Dillon 36 said, "Is this the best the Rockets could get for Wood? I know they aren't taking on any contracts past next season, but this is a super late pick. Would the Hornets not trade 15 for Wood?" Bill Bellamy said, "Steal for the Mavs." DXC said, "Great move by Dallas. They need a big that could score, but didn't appear to have the assets to get one. Getting Wood for just number 26 and some expiring deals of non-rotation guys sets them up nicely. Great move for both teams." And then Simmons is better than Russ said, "Great move for the Mavs. Some interesting pieces and players there. Personally, I don't see how it all plugs together and finally works in a world where they make the final or win the chip." Dinwiddie, Brunson, Doncic, 3-point guards. Hardaway, Bullock, Finney-Smith, underrated two-way wings. Kleber and Wood, big men that can shoot. Just can't see how it all works, but I'll sit back and happily be surprised and enjoy watching him. So the last thing I want to do is see if Sterling Brown was actually traded, because it seems about that what I was on he was, and the other half didn't. I don't see anything. So I'll look up. I forgot his name. The ESPN. When I looked up Christian Wood, say it. Okay. The last thing that we'll look at is Wikipedia. The Dallas Mavericks have agreed to trade the 26th pick for Trader, Boban, Marquise Chris, and Sterling Brown in the 26th pick for Christian Wood. This trade will not be completed until draft night due to the fact that the Mavericks owe the New York Knicks a top 10 protected pick in 2020. The step-in rule was more about here, prevents teams from being without first-round picks in consecutive seasons. That means the Mavericks will end up making the 26th pick for the Rockets, then trading that player as part of Wood has been with the Rockets since 2020, averaging 18, 10, and 1 per game, while shooting 51% from the field and 39 from 3. He is in the final year of a 3-year, $41 million deal, and will be extension eligible in 6 months after the trade, should the Mavericks want to go down that route. The Rockets signed Wood ahead of the 2021 season, hoping he would be a complementary piece to help James Harden and Russell Westbrook. That, of course, never came to pass, as both Harden and Westbrook forced their way out prior to the season, and the Rockets became a rebuilding team. Now at least they've been able to flip him for an extra first-round pick. Let's grade the trade. Mavericks receive Christian Wood. The Mavericks are coming off a surprise run to the Western Conference Finals, but when they got there, it quickly became clear that they didn't have enough talent across the board to deal with the Golden State Warriors. In particular, their front court options were quite limited. As a result, they've gone out and picked up Christian Wood, who will instantly make them a better team, a rangy 6'10" big man who can space the floor and knock down three-pointers, and also operate as a lob threat in the pick and roll. Wood fits in perfectly with how the Mavericks like to play, with Wood assuming the starting center role. The Mavericks' offense should become even more fluid. The only potential downside for the Mavs is how Wood will impact the locker room. Despite his clear talent, this will be Wood's 7th team in 7 seasons, and he had some notable issues with the Rockets in early January prior to the game against the Denver Nuggets. He caused shoot-around to be delayed by skipping COVID-19 testing. He was benched to start that game, so little effort in the first half when he did go in, and was then confronted by teammates and assistant coach John Lucas at halftime. After he refused to go back in the game at the second half, the team suspended him for 1 game. Winning usually solves those sort of issues, though, and the Mavs should win even more with Wood in the mix. Plus, they really didn't give up anything of note to get him, and he only has 1 year left on his deal. If for some reason he's not a good fit, they can just cut their losses at the end of the season. Dallas trade grade A. That's what I gave them, so let's see if they give the Rockets a C-. They'll probably give them like a B- or something, but let's see what it says. When the Rockets signed Christian Wood prior to the 2021 season, it seemed like a nifty piece of business. Wood had shown a lot of promise with the Pistons before COVID shut down the world, and his skills meshed well with James Harden and Russell Westbrook. He was expected to help them continue to compete at the top of the Western Conference. Instead, Westbrook and Harden decided they were no longer interested in playing for the Rockets, and the team was forced to shift into rebuild mode. If the Rockets had known that was coming, there's no way they would have signed Wood that offseason, and he just never really made sense on the roster getting in a new direction. In the end, though it worked out, they were able to flip him for a first-round pick. Yes, it's toward the end of the first, but every extra chance in the draft helps you when you only won 37 games combined the last 2 seasons. Plus, most analysts predict the Rockets will take Luke Paul Carroll with the number 3 pick. Both he and last season's fascinating rookie Alperen Sengun will now have a much clearer role in path to playing time with Wood out of the equation. It's a bit surprising the Rockets weren't able to squeeze more out of the Mavericks in return, but they didn't have to take on any bad money and got a first-round pick for a guy who can succeed long-term. So they gave a B+. So if you guys enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel and help me hit 50 subscribers. And comment your trade grades and new trade ideas for the NBA draft next Thursday down below, and I will react to them in my next video if enough people do it. So this channel, like I like to say, this channel is mostly you guys.